about aging. My sister, who is older than I am, but she's still in her 50s. I think she was 52 years old. So 2 years ago, she was doing her friend a very, very nice favor to pick her up. She was sitting in her car and she was gunned down. 42 bullets riddled her car. She was shot and she became critically ill, life support. I became a caregiver for her at 52 years old.
Wow.
Now, my sister, she's my only sister. So we spoke every single day, 50 times a day. Okay. If there was such thing as 50 times a day, 50 times a day. Okay. And you know, the saddest thing is, Renita, when I had to step in and be her caregiver, I didn't even know her social security number.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know where she kept it. More so, I didn't even know what kind of insurance she had. I didn't know when her bills were due. So how did I carry on her life? Now I knew what to do because I'm a professional. So I knew to look in certain spaces and look for certain things. But if you don't know, you've moved out of the house with mom and dad at 25. It's 50 years later since you actually lived in the house or actually had to handle any of their affairs. Would you really know where to start? Do you really know who mom's primary care is? Who's the specialist? Who's the attorney? Who's a financial advisor? Do you even know grandma's maiden name? If you had to unlock something and give information so that we can unlayer it, would you know that information? Most of the time we don't. And it's taken for granted. I spoke to my sister every single day and I had to wait until she came off the ventilator to make phone calls for her because I didn't have a power of attorney in place. The professional didn't have a power of attorney in place because we're only in our 50s. It's not going to happen to me. She know what to do, right? You get sick, you can talk. But if you're on a ventilator, you can't talk to anyone. So that book, Everything You Need to Know, brings that moment where if you don't want to share it now, because a lot of times, parents, we get them all the time. Mom didn't share anything with me. Mom don't want to. She's stubborn. Or dad, you know how it is. Back in the day, they didn't talk about anything. They don't talk and they don't want to talk about it. Or a lot of times, for out of fear, people don't talk about those things. They don't talk about end of life care. They don't. What do you want your life to look like when you can't speak or talk about it? So a lot of times, and people avoid it because it is a scary conversation. It really is. It's very scary. So that's why you want to talk about it now when things are great, when things are happy, so that when those moments come, you make it easier on your loved one. I suffered. I mean, it was painful. Do you know they were about to discharge my sister with a trach because I couldn't get to her health insurance information? I was
Wow.
smart enough to know what agency I needed to call to get the information, but the average caregiver wouldn't know how to gather that information. They were going to send her home because she couldn't come off the ventilator. They said, well, we're going to have to send her home on a tray and you can care for her and we'll show you how to feed her. And that moment just came down on me like a ton of bricks. Okay. And I was embarrassed because I'm in the industry and I preach it every day to people and I didn't practice what I preach. I don't mean to use those words, but it's the truth.
Yeah, yeah.
I did not practice what I preach. And I said, this will never happen to anyone else if I can help it. And I began to I started writing it as a diary. And I realized I need to put it in a book because I started writing. When I got information, I have a diary. I started logging. Okay, this is her insurance. This is the financial. This is when the mortgage is due. She owes this much here. This is her username and her password. So as I got information, I would write it down and realize it was an entire diary. And I decided to gift my audience with having this information transferred, not because it was about a dollar, it's because I
Mm-hmm.
know you're going to need it in the moment. You're going to need it. I can say that you will need it, or else you're going to be in guardianship. If my sister did not come off the ventilator anytime soon, I was going to be petitioning the court for guardianship. And here in Florida, the minimum is $10,000 to start petitioning for guardianship so that I can act on her behalf.
Wow.
So it's important, it's passionate, and I wanted to share that with the world to say it can happen at any moment. I was on the phone with my sister, and in less than an hour, she was gunned down. God only had it where we had to hang the phone up. because if I was on the phone, I'm sure it would have crushed me. 2 hours later, I got a call that she was in trauma. Okay, she was in trauma. So I still didn't know. She lived 3 hours away from me. I drove down, and this was a 3 week journey of the ventilator. And eventually, through prayers and the miracles, she came through. And I remember her with, when they started taking her off the ventilator, she was trying to write some things to tell me because I would ask her because she was coherent, but she was trying to write to tell me. Mind you, when they shot her, they hurt. She's paralyzed on the right side, so she writes with it. So it was all in scribbles. I can't let this happen to anyone else because the pain that's associated with trying to take care of them and figure out the person you're trying to take care of. It is important. It is important. It is important. So I say this from my soul that is not anything to read, is informative, but it would allow you to have conversations with your children, with your grandchildren. Someone needs to take the lead and scribe. And even to our listeners, if you don't want to share the information now, hey, get the book, write it down, go put it in a safe. So, or in a safe place. So if that moment comes, all the answers and everything you want them to know about you, they will know, and you will be cared for, and they won't miss a beat, even down to end of life. How do you want it to go? What This is your moment to scribe, and you are in control during the time you cannot be in control. Because at that time she couldn't be in control. It was with the hopes that I carried out our conversations. But had I had everything in writing here, Renita, I got had I had everything here, all I had to do is open it up and just look. Life insurance, username, login, passwords, because we don't share those things with anyone. It's second nature. You log into your computer and that's it. Not even your children. You just know, Mom, go online and print something for me. Never realizing that if they needed that information, how can they get to it? And so that's how it was birthed. It was birthed out of a professional experience. Clients don't know, and it became closer to home from a personal. My sister, my dear sister, and so I am out to educate and inform. Something as simple as that. If you listen to me and Miss Renita, because we're both a social worker, I promise you, you will thank us so much later. You and so again, that's that misconception. It's not going to happen. I don't need to do this right now. My son know what to do with me when what happens. We already talked about it. I promise you, the information that's in there, you probably have not even shared with your spouse. I don't have to worry about that now. You do have to worry about it now. Now is the time.
And
My
so
soul is
thank you.
crying.